Hello and welcome to the Evermore art stream. Today's subject is going to be weapon studies. We're starting in about 4 minutes, so feel free to get cozy, get your drinks, and get ready. We're gonna do a couple of shout outs to Defox Gaming for helping us out, and Icy Moo, also a great helper, and really, she's so good at Minecraft. Check her out. So here's Defox Gaming. And there's Icy Moo. So you can hit their channels and check them out as well. And as for the music, I would really like to thank the Unwind station on YouTube. You can always find them over there. I'll be sure to give them credits when uploading the video on YouTube as well. So you can always watch it back and learn of them. Donations are free and welcome. As for today's challenge, having the weapon study to be done, the art will be released in the Evermore Discord for those who are members. It's a free membership. Usually on every Monday we have the TTRPG art talks together with Red One Art. She also does some unboxing videos, so give her a look as well. Another shout out. I hope the music isn't too loud on the background, and I'll be keeping a stark eye on the chat because your information does count for this study. Any questions will be answered, of course, once I see it in time, in a timely manner. So yeah, with 2 more minutes to go, we've all settled up, I hope. And today's art stream isn't going to take too long. It's about an hour. Apologies if there are a couple of coughs here and there. I seem to have been stricken with a cold. I'll try my best to mute myself when I have an episode going on. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, here's the link. Oh, that was timely. Nightbot decided to go and advertise that one as well. Anywho, we're about to start in 20 seconds. Well, a little less than that now. I think I'm just gonna push the timer ahead and let's get started on this event. Here we go. Alright, our first subject for today is the halberd, one of my personal favorite weapons. I'm going to do a little bit of an explanation about the halberd because in order to draw them, one must understand their goal and their functional purpose. A halberd is a two-handed pull weapon, and it really became in use during the 13th to the 16th centuries. And the halberd consists of an axe with a blade topped and a mountain spike on a long shaft. And it's quite an interesting feature. We have the halberd reference in the top corner right over here. Just gonna make an ugly arrow. And what I want to do is just some warm-ups and scratches, like see what we can do with halberd design in itself without breaking too much of its purpose, because it still needs to be recognized as such. But can we make it more interesting, like for games or D&D sessions, like Dungeons and Dragons for those who are playing? So let's get started. Just remember, there's always some tools that help you draw swift straight lines, such as press down the shift button and you'll get a straight line. But what I'd like to do right now is scribble a bit with the idea of a halberd, how it should look like, and it's just really focusing on the mounted piece on top of it. The pole is fairly interesting as well, but doesn't really get my focus right now. Just to get to the center point of the attention. Let me shift my chair a little bit so I can have a better view on the screen. If there are any questions, feel free to chat around. I don't bite, and I hope the chatbot doesn't either. To check his functions. I think there's many designs possible for a halberd that are quite fitting. Maybe it's been jabbed a bit, or not. So this design is pretty standard over here. That's all fun and stuff. And we have some decorations or some holding places. So that's one. As for a silhouette, I'm pressing the Alt button to make a duplicate and make some changes. Yeah. There's the thing. The website is currently available, but I'm gonna turn that down for Nightbot to not promote that one right now, because that's more for the art, the RPG, art and talks. Forgot about that one. Let me see. Oh, good. There we go. So yeah, there we go. Back to it, our halberd designs. Trying to get a little bit more bold with where the blades go. Maybe something more caress or brass, or just a little bit more bold. Or perhaps, yes, double blades, double damage, or at least no matter how you swing it, it's a nice stick to poke with. That has a good reach. Certainly, I think it was used a lot, and correct me if I am wrong on this. The stand guard at gates and jab at mounted riders or attackers, just to quickly snap them off their high horse and deal with it. Certainly makes great for that. Not too certain about crowd control. I mean, it could be depending on how the weapon is precisely used. I'm making the left blade a wee bit smaller as in the original designs. I still want it to be axe shaped. Have more of that effect going on. Alright, so I'm keeping these silhouettes and I'm turning off the references. Gonna merge them a bit. And again, I am going to duplicate them. So you have a very rich selection of halberds, or the tops thereof. We can always extend it later on once we've decided and chosen on one particular design that we'd like to work on. If you'd like me to work on a different kind of weapon, feel free to suggest and put it out there. There's a couple of references that I've already prepared, like the Great Sword, the Common Steel Sword, and of course an axe. An axe is great for many things, you might ask. Or axe. Alrighty, it's got a little more creative. Here I want it to be more of a jab and poke, like a hook attached to it, so that's going to be very nasty. So I play D&D myself, and as a player, I just love the halberd. Once I get my grubby hands on such a weapon, or if I'm allowed to start with it from the game master, I gladly do so. It's really yeah, it's really nice. It's a two-handed weapon, and also in D&D, also again two-handed. Doesn't make it any less. It may inflict some damage. A whole lot, if you ask me, especially for the starter heroes. I mean, whoo! Just let's see what happens if I'm making the blade a wee bit shorter than the other blades that I have so far. I can also believe that the blades are leaning to it the right side because most people were right-handed, so they could pull the more weight on the right side of them when they make a swing or something like that. But I'm not quite certain about this either. I mean, just looking at the designs and trying to figure this out without having read any information about that. Me, myself, and I, left-handed. And when it comes down to to any other kind of kitchen utensils, I am both. Because I can't make up my mind, and my mind is really being, you know, one of a kind, I'd say, almost. Yeah, I like that. A little bit more spiky, more curved. And let's get in with a theme. Of making this one a little bit more nasty. And working with silhouettes is a great deal. At least it's really great to, you know, get a grasp of the shape and let your imagination really take a good grasp at what's before you, and play with the boxes that you have. Kind of helps you get things drafted faster. Plus, it's also great for game studios. They can see your progress, they can see where you're coming from. And it doesn't take, in general, too much effort to get this done. They'll kind of look alike here, so I'm probably going to change that a wee bit. More of an arrowhead over there. It's more of a crystalline spike. Also, don't be afraid to kill your darlings, because sometimes it really doesn't look good. That happens more often than one would like to admit. As for me, I'm not too afraid about admitting that sometimes it's really looking like crap, because sometimes it really just does. I have those moments. And then, when you kind of start to lose hope in it ever becoming something, you have to push through and see how far you can get and not quit. There's also the tactic of starting over. That's also fairly nice, but sometimes, depending on your deadline, it's better to push through and work with what you've got. Right now we have 45 minutes or so. Like this one, I'd like to be more of an executioner type of blade. Like having pokey to the left, pokey to the right. Aha! When it comes down to materials, always check your references and look up those images. It's better to observe and fill your mental library rather than from the top of your head and not getting it quite right. There's no shame in it. Everyone in the industry does it. That's why we use references, truly. Now, as you can see, I am not making many straight lines, and I'll probably have to fix that later on. And with later on, I kind of mean now. Here we go. That is better-ish. Doop, 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 doo, doo. There we go. And somehow I just keep on thinking like this design, it has something, but you know what? It can be better. It can be. It is kind of missing that little oomph. What I'm trying to look for. So what I'm going to do is make them a wee bit smaller in a bit. And scale. There we go, that's better. It's always better to start at smaller sizes rather than rather than having the full scale image like right pop wow in your screen, because it gives you more of a overview, and that overview can help you determine whether something is good or not. It's like eyeballing it, and you can always, as you can see, zoom in, but eyeballing isn't too bad. Just let's go for here for this one. I'm just gonna do the opposite direction. And And you can see that I'm using the little eraser quite a lot. Because I tend to draw a little bit messy. And there's nothing wrong with that. So as I know where to pinpoint and have these things where I want them. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah. And here you go. Get it. Already drawing a wee bit too big. And rather than having an axe for a tip, I'm just starting to deviate a little bit from the design of a halberd and see how a bit of an arrow kind of like blade would look like. It's like decorations can come later. As long as I know what's going on. And as for young artists, so long as you know what's going on, it's okay. You can always clear things up, you can always straighten them out. And yes, in the big art game industries, art is rushed and needs to be done quick, quick, fast, fast, fast. But you really think that those artists from League of Legends draw their drawing within one day? No. No, they really take up to a week. And with a week, I mean 8 hours a day drawing full-time on this one piece of art. And the majority of that time is spent on rendering. I've never taken that much time to render something, but I think I might be up for the challenge. To render something for 32 hours, 40 hours, and see what's coming from it. You know what? I think I just gotta go use the tools that I have. And in real life, if you'd be... In real life. Well, if you'd be drawing with pen and paper, the traditional way, you'd be using a ruler. So, and this is my ruler. The shift command. There we go, that helps a whole lot. Now we have to go where we want things to be. I want a bit of a dot over here, and I want... And there's another neat little trick when it comes down to weaponry and designing them. And for designing them a wee bit faster, if you're into that. You really quickly want to jam some stuff up. There we go, we say, oh, we have this piece over here, that's so cool. I am going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it. And then I'm going to turn it around vertically. So I have an upside down version. I went too fast, undo. That was copy. It's not quite Photoshop, it doesn't create a new layer, so. Cancel. Let me drag that, yes. And there you go, it's like, whoop. And it's attached. Ah, it kind of does create a separate layer. Oh, learn something new every day. Once more, if the music is a little bit too loud, let me know. And if you can't hear me, also let me know. But probably you won't hear this message if you can't hear me. I quite debate that option. I've checked my settings and everything should function as planned and intended. Really make something mean out of this one. Like, I don't necessarily want the arrow hat. I mean, it is still fairly cool, don't get me wrong. But I'm looking more like a sight-like option. Like, what would the halberd of death look like? Now, that's a design I am almost getting eager for. It's like, yes, that sounds mighty interesting. And that's the whole thing. Something I've picked up from Mark Burnett, one of my favorite artists out there. You can follow him on YouTube. You can even follow some classes. I might do that in the future. I might. When I save up enough money. But yeah, To requote Mugprinted, you gotta draw something interesting. Everything's been seen already. Like these designs right over here. Yeah, okay. Perhaps to someone who's not in the art industry or isn't in the game industry, they will look at it and look like, wow, that looks amazing. But for people from the art industry to get interested in your work, you need to come up with the next level items and the next level gear, as to speak. So, and that counts for all kinds of things. It counts for weaponry. It counts for character design, background, and if you really have a type of focus, don't waste the time that you've got, the precious time that you have on drawing background art if you want to be a character artist. I mean, you could spend some time on it, but the majority should be done and spent on character design if that's something you want to excel at and become a master of. Maybe a little rag over there. Now this is starting to look like something, but it still doesn't have it quite yet. And what is missing right now is the angle. And I got a fix for that too. Well, you could almost say I got a fix for about everything, but that ain't true. Sometimes I just have to start over, that's the truth. But preferably, work with what you've got. Now you can see it in all sorts of angles. Like, how does it work? Well, it still needs to be a scythe, right? And that means it needs to have enough space to do that and be utterly annoying, but also it means like we got the blade stick out a little bit. Our pointy stuff at the end should be extended as well. Because it needs to be above. We're going to use the shift 2 again. Boop. Just to keep a straight line of things. Once we have the silhouette that we really adore and adorn, we're going to go and take a good look at it. Like, are there things still missing? And if so, just make another layer. Look at things from a different angle. You might want to do that. Flip your canvas. Does it still look good? It looks okay. There's a couple of things I want to scratch off right now. But, yeah. Gosh, I just love the halberd. In-game, out-of-game, when playing Skyrim. Many games, actually. If they have an halberd, I'm definitely going for the halberd. I must be honest, I haven't found it in Skyrim yet, but they look like the type of franchise that should have it. So I'm keeping my eye out for a halberd in Skyrim, and if not, I might look at some mods that will allow me to use a halberd, because it's a great crowd control weapon in the aspect of keeping your foes at a fair distance, or pulling them really close, depending on how you want to use your halberd. It's a lovely pointy stick. And to quote people from the internet, a monk should never go without a pointy stick. It's better than nunchucks. Perfectly good stick. Now you see, turn it around again. There's a lot of empty space over here, and it kind of leaves up for some imagination. I mean, we could probably maybe a blade or something in between. Should we put a blade in between? I don't know. Let's see if that has a good look on it. Boom, 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 boom. curved blade over here. Yeah, I know. And there's also tools for this as well to draft up quick shapes and forms, but yeah, you know, sometimes I really just like to freehand it and then go for the obvious trick in the box. Like, oh, a curved line. Whoop. Ta-da! I want to make another curved line. Not like that. Nah. And then we use the bucket. Bloop. And that would be the shortcut to it. Rather than breaking your fingers over over trying to get it right with the eraser tool and the pen tool, but it has something nostalgic for me just to go at it like that. When working with tight deadlines, I do know my tools and I know where to find them, and I absolutely use them just to get the things done in time. Now, really thinking about it, should this have spikes? Like so. Should we add spikes? Like, are spikes a good idea? I mean, we already have quite a spiky design. Dum, 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 dum. And does that make the design stronger? I'm pressed out. Not sure if that does it. I don't think so. I think it kind of makes the design not necessarily stronger in any form. But it's always nice to play with something. Like, how far can you tweak it, and does it still look good, or is this what we wanted? And maybe it's more of a blade that also has this sharp edge right over there. Double side. But no. Sometimes simplicity is also in your best interest. Still want things to be recognizable as a halberd, so we do need something on this side. Personally, I do favor having these very pointy edges on it. Not everything needs to be curved. Posting good comparison that this side is longer than the other, to keep a bit of the traditional halberd in mind. And then really it's a matter of playing with shapes. That's what it runs down to. That's what art is. Art is playing with shapes. Like cylinders, squares, triangles, like your basic shapes. And sometimes it's also a good practice to just draw those things. Of course, you want to go crazy overboard for some items, but sometimes it's not really necessary, you know? We have 30 more minutes to go, and if the one that is watching has a preference for which blade we should totally tackle for a bit of coloring, a little bit extra work, please vote or mention in the chat. We have number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because this is an interactive stream after all, and who am I if I'm not to give some choices? Doom, 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 doom. Putting up the numbers and taking a sip in the meantime. All right. You know what? Then I'm the one who's going to charge and take a good pick at the weapon. This one, number 5, has some interesting features, but I also must admit I like number 4 as well. Tough choice over here. And I'm going to go for number 4 and make this one somehow more interesting, featuring it as number 5, having some interesting features over there. It's like an entire sight at both sides, like a double sight. Why am I not choosing for number 5? Well, my reason is fairly simple. If I were to use this in actual combat, I'd bet my losses on it. It looks brutal, but functionally, I wouldn't even be able to lift it off the ground, let alone give it a good swing. I'd not be able to swing it. At least I imagine it to be fairly robust and fairly big. And I haven't been hitting the gym, so no, not for me. There we go. Some thicker lines, indicating perhaps some decorations here or there. So I'm going to give it a small selection of what we have. Doop, 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 doop. I'm going to go copy that and paste it. And then we're going to stretch it out. I'm going to say scale. I'm not focusing on the pole, I am just focusing on the very tip of the halberd. That's the most interesting part to me. It features a lot of things. And I am going to try and see if I can do some magic with a pencil. An actual pencil too within Clip Studio Paint. Doo, doo, doo. Just drafting up some quick ideas that I have. Like, how should it work? Well, it's definitely going to be holding onto with a bit of iron or steel or whatever you have. There's going to be some ornaments here and there, because I do want this blade to be fairly interesting. I'll make it more memorable. I'm also going to give it some battle scars that it has been used. So far, the weapons that I found in Skyrim have been adoring. I mean, if you've seen the axe of Witherrune, and that really depends on the level of which you submit to the Jarl over there, and you get to it. Wow. Some of the pieces are so staggering and well thought of, with the runes and everything. And just trying my hand quickly at some quick draft designs, things I might change later on. I only want some wood in there. Who wouldn't? Haha. But also your fair share of iron to keep things in place, or steel, maybe even copper. In any case, the metal kind. And for some reason, I've been featuring or at least favoring steel over iron. I know iron cast has its charms, but somehow things just feel a little more sturdy when steel has been used. Doesn't take away that iron is also a great material. Now, here comes another fun part. Deciding where your edges are, like where's the shot part. I imagine this entire piece right over there being part of the shot part. But this over here could be part of that part as well, and that one part over there. You know that not a single little thing goes to waste, and maybe here's some damage. And we'll get to the little fuzzy things later on. Reason I'm not completely zooming in because that would ruin my helicopter view. If we go in too far, we go into many details, and you lose the overview that you have. You can't really focus on anything, so just keeping it between here and there, and when need be, when I'm done with the outlines, having a general idea of what I want to go and where I want what to go, then yes, we can go up for a debate. Figure that one out later. You can also turn the canvas around if you're not too sure about your pencil scales. It's also another great option. Many tablets have such features. I mean, especially the ones that are on the market on today's date. It's another sharp part that I want, and starting to look like something. I would say there's another piece of metal casing right over here. And we are going to use the shift tool. Give some indicators of where our lines are going to be. And everything is a little bit consistent with what we have in mind. Now, I personally love those rounded edges of little steel or iron or whatever you have on material to be in between the wooden frame. And maybe there are some handy wraps. That could be a thing too. Like some pieces of cloth, or you know, some other tiny detailing just to have a better grip on the weapon. Fairly sure that I am going to look at my at Skyrim later on today probably, and see if I can find a mighty halberd. That is definitely going to be greatly used. The thing I got closest to with the halberd design so far in the game was the Great Nord Axe. And I love it for its design, its capability, and just mainly the design and how the amount of damage it deals in game. That's nice. It's quite robust, and in game it also features that it doesn't allow you to swing fast, which gives you a bit of a delay on things logic. So that makes sense for what it is. So for you to do a whole lot of massive damage, you need to swing it a couple of times. And that takes time. Just deciding a little bit on what kind of wraps there should be. I think that's a fairly nice wrap. Haha. Another thing I learned from another artist doing my studies is that if there is a certain line that you like, increase it, just make it a little thicker. To put more emphasis on that piece of line work and take the emphasis away from the lines that you don't particularly like. And so far it helped cover up some mistakes. Doesn't always do that, but still nice to think about. If it comes down to device and people to follow art school or anything of the sorts, you guys, in this era, there's the internet, and a lot of art school is still studying on your own accord. The thing you do need is willpower to push through and continue and go on and put yourself out there on the market. Something many people forget about, including me. I'm really bad with social media. Had I been better with that, might have had more followers, or had I had more of this or that, who knows, no clue. But I do know that it's a big part of art to have a good community surrounding you. So what did I want over there? And hey, I'm as an artist, always still on the outlook for an artist job. I just love art gigs. They're nice. And it's especially good and really loving when you get to see the final product and you get to see your own art added to that final product. It's like, yeah, achievement. Together with the entire art team and the art department to see your product along there with their product, and then everyone works so hard on something and you finally get to see the puzzle piece together, and it's so nice. It's like real life achievement. Boom, boom. And there we go. We have a lovely halberd design. If we zoom out, it's still clear the function of it. It's a halberd. Might we want to add some stuff? Yes, we do. Another sharp edge coming through. I might want to... Pew. I want this one to be a wee bit more nasty. Doop, 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 doo. You know, it still quite doesn't do it. Could always make it more jagged. Yeah, there we go. Turning this one off for a brief moment. And that would mean we really want to be hitting the nasty bar. The other side is going to be the exact same. I'm just going to go copy this part, copy, and use eraser right over here. And paste. I'm going to go transform it. Luckily, we also have a rotation tool. There we go. That looks lovely. Something we could work with. And if I'd had a commissioner or, you know, the typical game boss of the studio, a creative director, or perhaps even art director, they usually tell about the little tale that I want for the character, and then like, oh, I need this so and so, or I would need a weapon that kind of, you know, fits the image of this character. And a typical character for a halberd design would be, of course, the knight, or a guard-like character that would stand guard and or be a little bit more active, but they have solid reasons for a halberd and having them. And of course, we want to make the items as epic as one can get. Because oftentimes, when you're designing weapons for a game studio, these are also lootable, and not just NPC weapons, they're also PC weapons for the players, the player characters. So keeping that in mind, things need to appeal to the mind of the player. And that really depends on your target audience. So if you're working on a game for 50-year-old men having a midlife crisis, you might want to think differently about the halberd. Like, the halberd is still cool, but we might go to something else. And again, depending on the game. For starters, I'd give them a motorbike to ride on, and perhaps a lance, so they have lance battles on a motorbike. And there they can bike it off. Usually 50-year-olds buy a bike in their 50s. No joke. I knew quite a few people who did. That's hilarious. Me, if I have my 50s, I'll probably buy a halberd. No joke. I'll get that halberd and hang it on the wall as decoration. Then again, if I'm being completely honest here, I may even buy a halberd before I reach 50. If I can get my grabby hands on it, and if it's affordable, that is. Or craft it myself, but that takes a lot of time and planning. But it would be interesting. Here you have a bit more spiked up design of the halberd. And we're really gonna be a jackass and being so mean about this. Also, welcome to the chat. We have 10 more minutes left, and I may extend it depending on how the chat is going to behave. But yeah, talking about this halberd. You really want to be a jackass, we're gonna add some more hooks over here as well. And you know what's more terrifying about hooks? Hooks with hooks on them. And for that, I am going to zoom in because we're going into some tinier details. So not only is this a fairly mean-looking weapon, it's going to be not nice to use it. It's a little different from the typical crowd control function that the original weapon has. Or so I'd like to believe, like the halberd, like having a great, awesome crowd control, keeping people at distance, or pulling them in close. That's the thing too. So here are some of the tinier details, and just to see how this looks like to go like some sharp little thingies that are annoying. Oh, that's really skin breaking right over there. Ooh. Oof. We can still see it. We can still see the little tiny hooks within the hook. One thing's for certain, I don't want to get I don't want to get stabbed by this one in any shape, form, or anyhow. There are some parts that I, as an artist, kind of dislike about it, but I can still work with things. So spiky or less spiky. And I know simplicity has its charm as well. I think I know what to do. Just thinking about this and extending this reach right over here a little. Well, that fits in nicely. I mean, getting cleaved in between two blades. Ouch. No, thank you, but yeah. Just gonna remove this part right over here, and I know we did work on that, but sometimes it's okay to kill your darling. I want to make this look a little bit more ferocious. Let me see. All right. Another little hook. Whew, what a twist. So we're making this halberd special by adding hooks. Hooks and nooks. Oh, we could make it so, and that's what I mean by losing overview. You just saw what I did over there, and I immediately lost my overview. So that's a no-go right over there. And sorry to say, but this one too. I want a bit of that axe part back, so I am going to make a curved line right over here. Yeah, that's not how clip studio paint works. Let me see, right over there. There we go. Saves us some staggering time. Finding rivets here and there where we want the sharper parts to be. It's like drawing some squiggly lines. There, it looks like a large moon blade right now. Could also be a very interesting feature. Again, really depending on the game studio. But we were going for something more barbed, or at least hooks. I'm just gonna get... Yeah, this is definitely looking mean. yeah, over the course of 1 hour, we have multiple designs for halberds. I think I kind of stuck with them because I love them so much. It's fairly interesting design over here, and to bring it a wee bit more back to it, the original traditional halberd, I'm just going to cut this one short and boop, push this one around. So it does have a very tiny opening over there, but yeah, that's more meant as a hook, the hook department. Turning this into a multifunctional tool. I wouldn't necessarily pick my teeth with this. But you could. Not guaranteeing that if there's any teeth left to be picked after, but hey. You know, I do like the hooks, but hooks design. I'm just gonna go at 3 of these over here as well. And make this side of the sharp edge the hooked version. Really more of a barbaric type, considering also the damage and the barbs that are on there. To bring balance to things, I would almost say we're going to go try and see how hooks on this side look. Just real quickly. Zooming out as well. Nope. Not necessarily a symmetric weapon. So it has no purpose for being used as such. It has different types of functions that it seems capable of. Creating distance between yourself and the crowd. A piece of fabric right over here. Because why not? We have some adornments. All right. And how far we came from the silhouette that we started out with originally. Silhouettes do help ease things out, and this is one of the tactics that I really also love. Another tactic would be building on top of your silhouette, and by that I mean fixing things, making things lighter here or there, and really just claying on top of it. It's another favorite tactic of mine. I do like to see this side a wee bit longer and more spare pointed. Now, let's say that if you want to color it and want to be quick at it, just check for little holes that you may have in the design, right over there. And for this, I do zoom in just to fill up those small tiny details, little thingies, little gaps. And once I've checked out every gap that might be, and then I'll use a tool, a magic wand tool, to go fetch and grab everything. That worked in the wrong way. Oops. It do be like that. Here we go. Could be a thing. That could be a thing. That is a thing. Little gap. Here, gaps. Alright. I think I got him, and if not, we're gonna see it right off the bat. Using the magic 1, 2, and we got him. That's good. I use a new layer for that. I'm going to the select department, and I say invert the selected area. I'm using a little bucket tool. Just want to pick something that's darker from the background, but still lighter than our line art, or at least our scribbles. So we can have a quick fill over here. And then I use typically another layer, and then I create a clipping mask. What a clipping mask does is it allows you to color and be brass with everything without heading off the borders. Like, haha! But yeah, coloring might be a thing done for next time. You can always vote in the channel or in the suggestions like, hey, I want to see this back again, or I want you to finish your halberd. Please work on it in our Discord. So if you already remember, have fun in there. And if not, feel free to join. I think that is going to be it for today. And I'm going to look around if there's someone whom we can raid. Let's see. Right now, none of the friends that I have are live streaming at the moment, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to wish everyone a very good night.